What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Unified lightweight champion Teofimo Lopez, aka Mr. Takeover, got taken down by the IBF #1 contender and mandatory challenger and Australia's own Kambosos. So move over, Jeff Horn. Australia has a new favorite son, and Kambosos is going to be able to take those 4 belts back to Australia because the WBC franchise title was on the line too in this fight. Now, the franchise title was supposed to be a title for the champion of a particular weight class to move freely without being obligated to take on mandatory challenges. But they put that title on the line when Teofimo Lopez took on Vasily Lomachenko, who held that belt. And I guess now Teofimo Lopez had to put that belt on the line when he fought Kambosos because he had all 4 belts when he was doing the post-fight interview. Kambosos fought a beautiful fight. Beautiful fight, mixed it up beautifully. Boxed when he needed to box, bang when he needed to bang. Teofimo Lopez came out there looking for the one-hitter quitter. Kambosos stayed patient, was able to drop him with a counter right hand, did a good job of doubling up on the jab, beautiful left hooks to the body. He was scoring at a consistent basis with the short, straight right hands. Fought a beautiful fight, man, beautiful fight. Teofimo Lopez abandoned the jab, man. He used the jab at times, but very inconsistent with the jab as he was basically head hunting, he was stalking, and he was able to catch Kambosos with a short right hand in the 10th round. But before that time, man, he was looping way too many right hands, man. He was telegraphing his right hand. Kambosos could see him coming from a mile away. He was able to duck majority of those right hands. But Teofimo Lopez finally made the adjustment, start showing up on that right hand. He kind of caught him with that right hand, then he caught him with an elbow after that right hand. So it was really a dirty punch, man, really. But you know, it happened so fast that the referee couldn't see it, man. Like you can see it on the replay, man. He kind of threw that right hand, and then after the right hand, he kind of turned the elbow into him and caught him right there with the elbow. And Kambosos went down. He got back up, but he was on shaky legs. He was in bad trouble, man. He was hurt badly, man. But that guy has a lot of willpower, man. Got a lot of heart. He is a warrior. He called himself a warrior going into this fight, and he showed all the attributes of a warrior, man. And he did a good job of withstanding that storm that Teofimo Lopez was bringing. He was dropping a lot of wind, a lot of rain, hurricane force winds, hail. It was coming fast and furious, but Kambosos was able to withstand that barrage that was thrown by Teofimo Lopez, and he was able to get himself together. And in my opinion, he won this fight by winning rounds 11 and rounds 12. Because I had it 5-5 after rounds 10. Both guys had knockdowns, so I had it even Steven after 10 rounds. But he showed his championship pedigree, that being Kambosos. He was able to win the 11th round and the 12th round on my scorecard to win the fight 7 rounds to 5. Now, I think the judges had it as a split decision. One judge favored Lopez, the other 2 judges favored Kambosos. Now, Lopez said after the fight that he wanted to fight 10 rounds to 2. I told a guy at the bar that I was watching the fight at, I was watching at Twin Peaks, watching the fight, man, had a nice little crowd out there, nice little atmosphere, man. I wanted to be somewhere where they had multiple TVs because I could watch the Lopez-Kambosos card, and I could also watch the Fulton and Figueroa card. So I had both of those fights that I was watching at the bar. Great night of action, great night of fights. We had one fight on the East Coast. We had another fight on the West Coast. I'm going to talk about that fight on the West Coast shortly, man. But first of all, I just got to give Kambosos his just due. Teofimo Lopez told on himself before the fight, actually, when he said that he announced to the world that he was injured going into that fight. And his dad was talking about they looking for a first-round knockout. So I kind of went into this fight thinking like, hey, man, if Kambosos can get past the first half of this fight, his chances of winning is going to increase dramatically. And that's exactly what happened. You know, that's exactly what happened, man. He was able to, he actually, man, got out there ahead early. like I said, he got the knockdown in the first round, so they put him up 10-8. So he's already jumped out ahead on right from the get. So Teofimo Lopez was playing catch up after the first round. But Teofimo Lopez, again, he finally shortened up on that right hand. He was able to get that knockdown, man. He started doing a little bit better job of shortening up on the right hand, and he started doing a little bit better job of throwing jabs to the body. Started doing a little bit better job of that, and he started throwing the left hook. He started finally letting that left hook go. As again, Lopez-Kambosos had scouted him, knowing that his money punches the right hand. He pretty much took that right hand away from Teofimo Lopez. But Teofimo Lopez finally made the adjustment, and he started throwing the left hand a little bit more, and he started scoring and doing damage on Lopez-Kambosos with the left hooks. So it was a good fight, good matchup. Lopez-Kambosos said before the fight that if he wins the fight, that he's already been communicating with Devin the Dream Haney, who's the WBC lightweight champion, via social media, that if he wins that fight, that he will want to fight him next for undisputed at 135 pounds, and they can put that fight over there in Australia in front of raucous fans in Australia. They can put that fight in one of those soccer stadiums. As we know, Jeff Horn fought Manny Pacquiao, and I think they had like at least 60,000 fans in attendance for that fight, as they had that fight in one of those soccer stadiums in Australia. I believe they have like 2 big soccer stadiums in Australia, so they can pretty much try to put that fight over there. Now, I know they've been doing strict quarantine over there in Australia. Well, people that come from outside, from other countries to Australia, have to quarantine for 14 days. So it remains to be seen if that still will be in effect for that fight. If it's negotiating, they're trying to find a location for that fight. Will that come into play? That remains to be seen. I know Tim Tszyu, who fights over there in Australia, he's had fights over there since the pandemic. So I don't know what the updated rules and regulations for staging sporting events over there in Australia and people coming from the outside to fight in Australia. So all that remains to be seen. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But great night of action, great fight, great performance by Lopez-Kambosos. Teofimo Lopez, it's time for you to move up, brother. Time for you to move up. It's time to go to 140 pounds. When you look at the 2 guys in the ring, man, Teofimo Lopez was a much bigger guy, and he was trying to use his size advantage in that fight, man. But still, man, he spent too much time looking for one shot. Instead of doubling up on the jab, using the left hand, he's a guy that is a two-handed fighter. He got a good right hand, but he's got a good left hook too. And he did not use that, especially early on in that fight. He started using a little bit toward the middle part of the fight. In the second half of the fight, he started letting it go, and he was able to actually get the knockdown with the right hand because he had started establishing the left hook. Lopez-Kambosos started looking for that, and then again, he shortened up on that right hand, and then he caught him with an elbow too, man. It was kind of like a dirty punch, but the referee didn't see it. Basically, he kind of grazed him. I ain't gonna say he grazed him, but he didn't catch him flush with the right hand. He caught him, but he didn't catch him flush. But then after he caught him with the right hand, he came with the elbow right behind, and he was able to the impact of the right hand and the elbow was able to knock down Lopez-Kambosos. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. As far as the fight on the West Coast, Las Vegas, Nevada, a.k.a. Sin City, unification in the junior featherweight division. Cool Boy Steph was able to put on a good performance. Was able to get the victory, fighting a rough, rugged, pressure fighter in Brandon Figueroa, who does what Brandon Figueroa always does. He's going to bring the pressure. He's going to maul you. He's going to get you up against the ropes. He's going to work the body. But the bottom line is Fulton was able to land sharper, cleaner, effective punches. And in my opinion, he won the fight 7 rounds to 5. I had it 115-113 for Cool Boy. After the fight, Figueroa was upset. He thought he should have won the fight. He interrupted the interview by Fulton with Jim Gray. Those 2 guys went back and forth, but it was just a great night of action, man. Now that I think about it, Teofimo Lopez did the same thing. He interrupted Lopez-Kambosos' press conference, said that he won the fight 10 rounds to 2, and he's moving up to 140, and he basically was crying and complaining and stuff like that. Man, you lost, man. You lost. I had it 7 rounds to 5. Having 7 rounds to 5. I think the judges had it. 2 of them had it for Kambosos, and one of them had it in your favor. It was a split decision, but I thought it was a clear victory for George Kambosos. Even though it was 7 rounds to 5, I thought the rounds that Kambosos won were very clear rounds that he won. I thought the rounds that Lopez won was clearly his. Like a lot of those rounds that Lopez won, he came on at the end and was able to hit some shots and kind of stagger Kambosos, so he's able to maybe steal a couple of those rounds. But the rounds that Kambosos won, he was sharp from the beginning to the end of those rounds. Some of the rounds that Lopez won, Kambosos was doing well early, but at the end, Lopez was able to catch him with some shots and some eye-popping type of shots that was able to steal those rounds, man. But I thought all in all, man, both guys that won the fight deserved to win the fight, that being George Kambosos and Stephen Fulton. Now, Fulton was able to back up Brandon Figueroa at times. He was able to maul Brandon Figueroa on the ropes at times. He basically fought Brandon Figueroa's game. He basically beat Brandon Figueroa at his game. I guess he made a calculated decision that he wasn't going to be able to stay on the outside and box and jab for 12 rounds to get the victory. He needed to stand his ground. He needed to meet force with force, and he was able to land a lot of good body shots to kind of slow down Brandon Figueroa. Brandon Figueroa is kind of like a runaway freight train at times. Once he gets his mojo going, he kind of able to maul and roll over a lot of his opponents. He wasn't able to do that to Stephen Fulton. And I think one of the main reasons why he wasn't able to do that was because Fulton was able to go to the body, and he was able to take a lot of steam off of the shots that Brandon Figueroa had. Now, Brandon Figueroa was able to come on strong at the end of a lot of rounds, and I thought he might have stole a couple of rounds coming strong at the end of those rounds, a la what Teofimo Lopez had did against Kambosos. But all in all, man, Stephen Fulton landed the cleaner shots. Did a good job of jabbing, particularly to the body. Did a good job of catching with the straight right hand. Did a good job of catching him with them left hooks. Did a good job of when Brandon Figueroa seemed like he had the momentum, had him against the ropes, working him, going to the body. Seemed like he was really about to pull on the attack. He was able to stifle that. He was able to get off them ropes, grab him, tie him up, and push him toward the middle of the ring. Did a great job with that. And like I said, he did a good job of not just getting mauled all night. He stood his ground, and he was able, again, to push Brandon Figueroa back at times. So I thought that was a very good psychological advantage for Stephen Fulton to let Figueroa know, hey, you ain't going to just big boy me all night, then you just going to bogart me against the ropes all night. I'm going to bogart you against the ropes. I'm going to let you know that I'm just as strong as you are. And I thought that was a good psychological battle that Stephen Fulton won in this fight. He ultimately won a majority decision, as 2 of the judges had it 116-112 for Fulton, and the other judge had it 114-114, a draw. Great night of fights, great action. 2 great fighters that I'm looking forward to watching here in the future, that being George Kambosos and Stephen Fulton, a.k.a. Cool Boy. And even the guys that lost tonight, Teofimo Lopez, don't hold your head down, man. Going up to 140, there's some good fights up there for you. Top Rank got some good fighters up there for you. Jose Ramirez, I think he's fighting Jose Pedraza. Maybe you get that winner. They got Zapatas out there. He just had the knockout of the year in his last fight. That'd be a good fight, real good fight at 140. Good fight, good debut fight at 140. That could get you set up with that fight. You get a win there, and you'll be in line to get a title shot at 140 pounds, especially if Josh Taylor vacates those belts and move up to 147. And as far as Brandon Figueroa goes, he said before the fight this was going to be his last fight at 122 pounds. He was going to move up to 126. So that led me to believe that he was struggling to make that weight. So I think he could move up to 126. He could have a big fight up there with Leo Santa Cruz, who's there. He got some other fighters up there at 126. So he can move up there to 126. He has the type of frame to move up in weight. I can see him moving up all the way up to maybe 135, 140 before it's all said and done. As you look at Brandon Figueroa, who's a guy, I think he's 24 years old, very young. So I think he probably can move up as high as junior welterweight before it's all said and done. He's a real tall, lanky guy. So I think he's got the type of body frame to carry the weight as he moves up. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about Teofimo Lopez getting upset by George Kambosos, and let me know your thoughts about Cool Boy Stephen Fulton defeating Brandon Figueroa from Walesko, Texas, via majority decision. You had one split decision victory for George Kambosos, and then you had a majority decision victory for cool boy Stephen Fulton. Let me know your thoughts and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.